The Death of King Arthur. Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory. Book 2. You're listening to Classics Made Clear. Classic texts translated with accuracy and accessibility for today's listener. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share these videos with your friends. Chapter 1. After Uther Pendragon died, his son King Arthur became king. During his rule, he had many wars as he tried to bring all of England under his control. At that time, there were many kings in England, as well as in Wales, Scotland, and Cornwall. One day, while King Arthur was in London, a knight came and brought him news. He said that King Rience of North Wales had gathered a large army. They had entered Arthur's lands, burning villages and killing the king's loyal people. "If this is true," said Arthur, "it would be a great disgrace to me if he is not strongly opposed." "It is true," said the knight, "for I saw the army myself." "Well then," said the king, "send out a call. Let all the lords, knights, and men-at-arms gather at a castle called Camelot. There we will hold a great council and a tournament." So the king went to Camelot with all his nobles, and they stayed there as they wished. While they were there, a young lady arrived. She had been sent with a message from a great lady named Lyle of Avelion. When the young lady came before King Arthur, she told him who had sent her and why. Then she let her rich cloak fall, and everyone saw that she wore a fine sword at her side. The king was surprised and said, "Lady, why are you wearing that sword? It does not seem fitting for you." "I will tell you," she said. "This sword causes me great trouble. I cannot be freed from it unless a knight removes it from its sheath. But that knight must be very noble in both skill and actions, without any dishonesty, treachery, or betrayal. And if I find such a knight," she continued, "he will be able to draw the sword out. I have already been to King Rience's court, where I was told there were excellent knights, but he and all his knights tried, and none of them could do it." "This is a great wonder, if it is true," said Arthur. "I will try myself, not because I think I am the best knight, but to set an example. Then all my knights may try, one after another." Arthur took hold of the sword and pulled hard, but it would not come out. "Sir," said the lady, "you do not need to pull so hard. The one who can draw it will do so with little effort." "You speak wisely," said Arthur. "Now let all my knights try. But be careful. Do not be stained with shame, treachery, or deceit." "That will not help," said the lady, "for the knight must be pure, without dishonor, and come from noble parents on both sides." Then many of the knights of the Round Table tried, one by one, but none of them could draw the sword. The lady became very upset and said, "Alas, I thought this court held the best knights, men without treachery or betrayal." "By my faith," said Arthur, "there are good knights here, as good as any in the world, but it seems they are not meant to help you, and for that I am sorry." Chapter 2. At that time, there was a poor knight staying at King Arthur's court. He had been held prisoner there for more than half a year because he had killed a knight who was a cousin of King Arthur. This knight's name was Balin. Because of the requests of the barons, Balin was finally set free. He was known to be a strong and capable man, and he came from Northumberland. After his release, he quietly entered the court and saw the challenge of the sword. His heart was stirred, and he wanted to try, just as the other knights had done. But because he was poor and dressed in simple clothes, he did not push forward or draw attention to himself. Still, in his heart, he believed he could succeed just as well as any knight there, if it was God's will. As the lady prepared to leave Arthur and the court, Balin called out to her and said, "Lady, I ask you kindly, please allow me to try as the others have. Even though I am poorly dressed, I feel in my heart that I may succeed as well as any of them." The lady looked at him and saw that he was strong and capable. But because of his poor clothing, she assumed he had no honor and might not be trustworthy. "Sir," she said, "there is no need for more effort. It does not seem that you will succeed where so many others have failed." "Ah, fair lady," said Balin, "worth, skill, and good deeds are not found only in fine clothing. True strength and honor are inside a man. Many worthy knights are not known to all people. Honor and courage do not come from what a man wears." "By God," said the lady, "you speak the truth. Go ahead, try as you wish." Then Balin took hold of the sword by its belt and sheath, and drew it out easily. When he looked at the sword, he liked it very much. The king and all the barons were amazed that Balin had succeeded in this task. Many knights were upset and jealous of him. "Truly," said the lady, "this is a great knight, the best I have ever found. He is full of honor and free from treachery or deceit. He will do many great deeds. Now, noble knight, please give me the sword." "No," said Balin, "I will keep this sword unless it is taken from me by force." "You are not wise to keep it," said the lady. "With this sword you will kill the best friend you have, the man you love most in the world. This sword will bring about your destruction." "I accept whatever fate God has for me," said Balin. "But you will not have the sword now, by my word." "You will regret this soon," said the lady. "I wanted the sword more for your good than for mine. I am deeply troubled for your sake, because you do not believe that this sword will destroy you, and that is a great pity." With that the lady left, filled with sorrow. Soon after, Balin sent for his horse and armor and prepared to leave the court. He came to take his leave of King Arthur. "No," said the king, "you should not leave so quickly. I think you may be upset because I treated you unfairly before. Do not blame me too much. I was misled about you. I did not know you were such a noble and powerful knight. If you stay here among my company, I will reward you well." "Thank you, my lord," said Balin. "No one can fully praise your kindness, but I must leave now. I ask for your continued favor." "I am truly sorry that you are leaving," said the king. "Please do not stay away long. You will always be welcome here, and I will make up for any wrong I have done to you." "Thank you, my lord," said Balin, and he made ready to depart. But many of the knights of the Round Table said that Balin had not drawn the sword by strength alone, but by magic. Chapter 3. While Balin was preparing to leave, a lady arrived at the court. She was called Lady of the Lake. She rode in richly dressed and greeted King Arthur. Then she asked the king for a gift that he had once promised her when she gave him his sword. "That is true," said Arthur. "I promised you a gift, but I have forgotten the name of the sword you gave me." "The name of it," said the lady, "is Excalibur, which means cut steel." "You speak rightly," said the king. "Ask whatever you wish, and I will give it if it is in my power." "Then I ask for the head of the knight who drew the sword," she said, "or else the head of the lady who brought it. I care not if I have both, for that knight killed my brother, a good and true knight, and that lady caused my father's death." "Truly," said King Arthur, "I cannot grant either of those requests without dishonor. Ask for something else, and I will give it." "I will ask for nothing else," said the lady. Just then, as Balin was ready to leave, he saw the Lady of the Lake, the same woman who had caused his mother's death. He had been searching for her for 3 years. When he heard that she was asking for his head, he went straight to her. "Evil befall you," said Balin. "You would have my head, now you shall lose yours." With that, he struck off her head in front of the king. "Alas, this is a disgrace," said Arthur. "Why have you done this? You have shamed me and my whole court. This was a lady I owed much to, and she came here under my protection. I will never forgive you for this." "Sir," said Balin, "I am sorry for your anger, but this lady was the most false woman alive. Through magic and sorcery she destroyed many good knights. She also caused my mother to be burned, through her lies and treachery." "Whatever your reason," said Arthur, "you should not have harmed her in my presence. You will regret this. Never has such a wrong been done in my court. Leave my court at once." Then Balin picked up the lady's head and carried it to his lodging. There he met his squire, who was upset that Balin had angered the king. Together they rode out of the town. "Now we must part," said Balin. "Take this head to my friends and tell them what I have done. Tell them in Northumberland that my greatest enemy is dead. Also tell them that I am free from prison and what happened when I won this sword." "Alas," said the squire, "you are much to blame for angering King Arthur." "As for that," said Balin, "I will hurry as fast as I can to find King Rience and destroy him, or die trying. If I defeat him, then King Arthur will surely accept me again as his loyal knight." "Where shall I meet you again?" asked the squire. "At King Arthur's court," said Balin. So they parted ways. Meanwhile, King Arthur and his whole court mourned deeply and were ashamed of what had happened with the Lady of the Lake. The king had her buried with great honor. Chapter 4. At that time there was a knight named Lancelot, the son of the King of Ireland. He was proud and believed himself to be one of the best knights in the court. He was very angry with Balin for drawing the sword, because he could not bear that anyone should be seen as braver or more skilled than he was. Lancelot went to King Arthur and asked permission to ride after Balin and take revenge for the insult done to the king and the court. "Do as you wish," said Arthur. "I am very angry with Balin. I would be glad if he were punished for what he has done." So Lancelot went to prepare himself. Meanwhile Merlin came to Arthur's court. He was told about the sword and the death of the Lady of the Lake. "Now I will tell you the truth," said Merlin. "This same lady who brought the sword here, I will tell you why she came. She was the most deceitful woman alive." "That cannot be true," they said. "Yes," said Merlin. "She had a brother, a noble and loyal knight, but this lady loved another knight as her lover. Her brother met that man and killed him in combat. When she learned this, she went to the Lady Leal of Avelion and asked for help to take revenge on her own brother." Chapter 5. "And so," Merlin continued, "the Lady Leal of Avelion gave her this sword. She said that no man could draw it unless he was one of the best knights in the land, strong and full of skill, and the man who drew it would use it to kill her brother. That is why the lady came to this court. I know this as well as you." "I wish she had never come here," Merlin went on. "She never came to do good, only harm, and the knight who drew the sword will be destroyed by it, which is a great tragedy. For there is no knight alive stronger or braver than he is. He would have brought you great honor, my lord Arthur. It is a great pity that he will not live long, because no man alive can match his strength and courage." Meanwhile, Lancer of Ireland put on all his armor, took his shield, mounted his horse, and grabbed his spear. Then he rode quickly after Balin, as fast as his horse could go. Soon, from a hill, he saw Balin riding ahead. He shouted loudly, "Stop, knight! You will stop whether you want to or not, and your shield will not save you." When Balin heard him, he turned his horse sharply and said, "Fair knight, what do you want? Do you wish to fight me?" "Yes," said Lancer. "That is why I have come after you." "Perhaps it would have been better for you to stay home," said Balin. "Many men think they will shame their enemies, but often it turns against themselves. Tell me, from what court do you come?" "I come from King Arthur's court," said Lancer, "to take revenge for the insult you gave to him and his knights today." "Well," said Balin, "it saddens me to fight against King Arthur or any of his court. But your reason for fighting me is weak. The lady who is dead caused me great harm. Otherwise I would hate to kill a woman." "Prepare yourself," said Lancer. "One of us will remain on this field." Then they lowered their spears and charged at each other with all the force their horses could give. Lancer struck Balin's shield so hard that his spear shattered into pieces. But Balin struck Lancer through his shield and armor, piercing his body and even through the back of his horse. Immediately Balin turned his horse and drew his sword, not knowing that he had already killed him. Then he looked back and saw Lancer lying on the ground, dead. Chapter 6. Then Balin looked around and saw a lady riding toward him as fast as her horse could go, on a beautiful palfrey. When she saw that Lancer was dead, she cried out in deep sorrow, "O Balin, you have killed 2 bodies but 1 heart, and 2 hearts that lived in 1 body. You have destroyed 2 souls." Then she took the sword from her fallen lover and fainted to the ground. When she woke, she cried and mourned even more. Her grief troubled Balin deeply, and he went to take the sword from her. But she held it so tightly that he could not take it without hurting her. Suddenly she set the handle of the sword against the ground and threw herself onto it, piercing her own body. When Balin saw what she had done, he was filled with sorrow and shame that such a noble lady had taken her life because of the man he had killed. "Alas," said Balin, "I deeply regret the death of this knight, for the love of this lady. There was true love between them." He could not bear to look any longer, so he turned his horse and rode toward a great forest. There, by the armor, he recognized his brother, Balin. When they met, they removed their helmets, embraced, and wept together, both for joy and for sorrow. Then Balin said, "I did not expect to meet you like this. I am very glad you have been freed from your long and painful imprisonment. A man told me at the Castle of 4 Stones that you had been released and that he had seen you at King Arthur's court. So I came here, hoping to find you." Then Balin told his brother everything, how he had drawn the sword, how he had killed the Lady of the Lake, and how King Arthur was angry with him. "That is why this knight came after me," said Balin, pointing to Lancer's body, "and the death of this lady grieves me deeply." "It grieves me also," said Balin, "but we must accept whatever fate God has planned for us." "Truly," said Balin, "I am very troubled that King Arthur is angry with me. He is the most honorable king on earth, and I will win back his favor, or risk my life trying." "King Rience is laying siege to the castle of Terrabil," Balin continued. "Let us go there quickly and prove our courage and skill against him." "I agree," said Balin. "We will go together and help each other, as brothers should." Chapter 7. "Let us go from here," said Balin. "It is good that we have met." As they were speaking, a dwarf came riding quickly from Camelot. When he saw the dead bodies, he cried loudly in grief, pulled his hair, and said, "Which of you knights has done this?" "Why do you ask?" said Balin. "Because I wish to know," said the dwarf. "It was I," said Balin. "I killed this knight in self-defense. He came after me, and either he would have killed me, or I him. And this lady killed herself for love of him. I deeply regret it, and for her sake, I will honor all women more from now on." "Alas," said the dwarf, "you have done great harm to yourself. This knight was one of the most valiant men alive. And know this, Balin, the family of this knight will hunt you across the world until they kill you." "I do not fear that greatly," said Balin, "but I am very troubled that I have angered my lord, King Arthur, because of this knight's death." While they were speaking, a king from Cornwall arrived, named King Mark. When he saw the 2 dead bodies and learned what had happened, he was filled with sorrow for the true love between them. "I will not leave this place," said King Mark, "until I have made a tomb for them here." He set up his tents and searched the land for a fitting tomb. At last, in a church, they found a beautiful and rich tomb. The king had both bodies buried together and placed the tomb over them. Then he had their names written on it. Here lies Lancelot, the king's son of Ireland, who at his own request was slain by the hand of Balin, and his lady, Colombe, his love, who killed herself with his sword out of grief and sorrow. Chapter 8. While all this was happening, Merlin came to King Mark. When he saw what had been done, he said, "In this very place there will one day be the greatest battle ever fought between two knights. They will be the truest lovers, but neither will kill the other." Then Merlin wrote their names on the tomb in gold letters. The knights were Lancelot and Tristram. "You are a strange man," said King Mark to Merlin. "You speak of wonders. You do not look like someone who could know such things. What is your name?" "For now, I will not tell you," said Merlin. "But when Sir Tristram is united with the lady he loves most, then you will know my name, and you will hear news that will not please you." Then Merlin said to Balin, "You have done yourself great harm. You did not save this lady, though you might have." "By my honor," said Balin, "I could not save her. She killed herself suddenly." "I am sorry for that," said Merlin. "Because of her death, you will one day strike the most terrible blow ever struck by a man, except for the blow of our Lord. You will wound the truest knight alive, the most honorable man living. Because of that wound, 3 kingdoms will fall into misery and suffering for 12 years, and that knight will not recover from the wound for a long time." Then Merlin took his leave. "If what you say is true," said Balin, "and I am to do such a terrible deed, I would rather kill myself now just to prove you wrong." At that moment, Merlin vanished. Then Balin and his brother took their leave of King Mark. "Before you go," said the king, "tell me your names." "Sir," said Balin, "you can see that he carries 2 swords, so you may call him the knight with the 2 swords." Then King Mark rode to Camelot to see King Arthur, while Balin and Balan rode toward King Rience. As they rode, they met a man in disguise. It was Merlin, though they did not recognize him. "Where are you going?" he asked. "That is not your concern," said the 2 knights. "But tell us your name." "For now, I will not," said Merlin. "That does not seem honest," they said. "Be that as it may," said Merlin. "I know where you are going, to face King Rience, but you will not succeed without my advice." "Ah," said Balin, "you are Merlin. We will follow your counsel." "Come then," said Merlin. "You will win great honor, but be sure to act bravely, for you will have great need." "Do not worry," said Balin. "We will do all that we can." Chapter 9. Then Merlin led Balin and Balan into a forest. They hid among the leaves beside the road. Merlin removed the horses' bridles, let them graze, and told the knights to rest until near midnight. When the time came, Merlin woke them and told them to prepare, saying, "The king is nearby. He has secretly left his army with 60 of his best knights. 20 of them ride ahead to warn the Lady de Vance that he is coming, for tonight King Rience planned to stay with her." "Which one is the king?" asked Balin. "Wait here," said Merlin. "In this narrow path you will meet him." And he showed them where Rience would pass. Soon Balin and Balan met the king. They struck him down and wounded him badly, knocking him to the ground. Then they fought fiercely on both sides, killing more than 40 of his men. The rest fled. Afterward, they went back to King Rience and would have killed him, but he surrendered. "Brave knights," he said, "do not kill me. If you spare my life, you may gain much from me, but by my death, you gain nothing. "You speak truly," said the two brothers. So they placed him on a horse litter to carry him. At that moment Merlin disappeared and went ahead to King Arthur. He told the king that his greatest enemy had been captured and defeated. "By whom?" asked King Arthur. "By 2 knights," said Merlin, "who would please you greatly. Tomorrow you shall know who they are." Soon after, the knight with the 2 swords and his brother Balin arrived, bringing King Rience of North Wales with them. They handed him over to the gatekeepers and placed him under guard. Then the 2 brothers quietly rode away at dawn. King Arthur came to see King Rience and said, "Sir King, you are welcome here. By what chance have you come?" "Sir," said King Rience, "I came here through a hard and unlucky adventure." "Who captured you?" asked Arthur. "Sir," he said, "the knight with the 2 swords and his brother, 2 remarkable knights of great skill." "I do not know them," said Arthur, "but I owe them much." "Ah," said Merlin, "I will tell you. It was Balin, the one who drew the sword, and his brother Balin. There are no knights alive greater in skill or worth. But it will be a great sorrow, for he will not live long." "Alas," said King Arthur, "that is a great pity. I owe him much, and I have treated him poorly despite his kindness." "No," said Merlin, "he will do even more for you, and you will soon see it." Then Merlin said, "My lord, are you prepared? For tomorrow before noon, the army of Nero, King Rience's brother, will attack you with a great force, so make ready, for I must now leave you." Then Merlin departed. Chapter 10. Then King Arthur prepared his army, dividing it into 10 groups for battle. Nero was already in the field near the castle of Terribil with a large army, also arranged in 10 groups, but with many more men than Arthur had. Nero led the front of his army. Meanwhile, Merlin went to King Lot and kept him busy with a long prophecy. Because of this, King Lot did not join the battle in time, and Nero and his army were destroyed. In the fighting, Sir Kay fought extremely well, earning honor that stayed with him for the rest of his life. Sir Hervis de Revel also performed great deeds alongside King Arthur. Arthur himself killed 20 knights and wounded 40 more that day. At that time, the knight with the 2 swords, Balin, and his brother Balin arrived. They fought so powerfully that everyone was amazed. Some said they must be angels sent from heaven or devils from hell. King Arthur himself said they were the best knights he had ever seen, for their blows were so strong and skillful. Meanwhile, a messenger came to King Lot and told him that while he had been delayed, Nero and all his army had been defeated and killed. "Alas," said King Lot, "I am ashamed. Because of me, many noble men have died. If we had fought together, no army on earth could have defeated us. This man and his prophecy have tricked me." This was Merlin's doing, for he knew that if King Lot had joined the first battle, King Arthur and his army would have been destroyed. Merlin also knew that one of the kings would die that day, and he did not want Arthur to be the one. Between the two, he preferred that King Lot should die rather than Arthur. "What should I do now?" said King Lot. "Should I make peace with Arthur or continue to fight? Most of our men are already dead." "Attack Arthur," said one of his knights. "They are tired from battle, and we are still fresh." "As for me," said King Lot, "I wish every knight would fight as bravely as I will." So they raised their banners and charged into battle. Their spears shattered on impact. But Arthur's knights, helped by Balin and Balin, began to overpower King Lot's army. Still, King Lot remained at the front, fighting bravely. He held back many knights and supported his army with his own strength. It was a great tragedy that such a noble knight should fall. King Lot had once been one of Arthur's knights and had married Arthur's sister. But Arthur had slept with her and fathered Mordred, and because of this, King Lot had turned against him. Then there came a knight called the Knight with the Strange Beast. His real name was Pellinore. He was a strong and skilled knight. As King Lot fought fiercely against his enemies, Pellinore struck a powerful blow at him, but missed, hitting the horse instead. The horse fell, throwing King Lot to the ground. Immediately Pellinore struck again, cutting through King Lot's helmet and head down to his brow. At that, the army of Orkney fled, for their king was dead. Many men were killed in the chaos. King Pellinore was blamed for King Lot's death. Years later, Sir Gawain avenged his father. In the 10th year after becoming a knight, he killed King Pellinore with his own hands. In that same battle, 12 kings fighting on King Lot's side, along with Nero, were killed. They were buried in the church of St. Stephen in Camelot. The rest of the knights and soldiers were buried in a great pit of stone. Chapter 11. At the burial of the 12 kings, many came to mourn. Among them was Queen Morgause, the wife of King Lot, with her 4 sons, Sir Gawain, Agravain, Gaheris, and Gareth. Also there came King Uriens, father of Sir Uwaine, and his wife Morgan le Fay, who was King Arthur's sister. Of all the kings who were buried, King Arthur honored King Lot the most. He made a very rich tomb for him and placed it near his own. Then Arthur ordered 12 figures to be made from brass and copper, covered in gold, each one representing a king. Each figure held a wax candle that burned day and night. Above them stood a figure of King Arthur, holding a drawn sword. The 12 figures were shaped like defeated men. All of this was made by Merlin through his skill. Then Merlin said to the king, "When I die, these candles will stop burning. Soon after, the quest of the Holy Grail will begin and be fulfilled." He also told Arthur that Balin, the noble knight, would one day strike a terrible blow that would bring great destruction. "Where are Balin, Balan, and Pellinore?" asked Arthur. "As for Pellinore," said Merlin, "he will soon come to you. Balin will not be far from you either, but his brother Balin, you will never see him again." "Truly," said Arthur, "they are both great knights, but especially Balin. I owe him much. I wish he would stay with me." "Sir," said Merlin, "guard well the sheath of your sword, Excalibur. While you wear it, you will lose no blood, no matter how many wounds you receive." But later, because he trusted her, Arthur gave the sheath to his sister, Morgan le Fay. She loved another knight more than her husband, King Uriens, or even Arthur himself. She wished Arthur dead. So she had a fake sheath made by magic and gave the real one to her lover, Accolon, who later nearly killed King Arthur. Then Merlin told Arthur another prophecy, that there would be a great battle near Salisbury, where his own son, Mordred, would fight against him. He also told Arthur that Bagdemagus was his cousin and closely related to King Uriens. Chapter 12. Within a few days, King Arthur became ill. He set up a tent in a meadow and lay down to rest, but he could not sleep. Then he heard the sound of a horse. Looking out from his tent, he saw a knight riding past, crying in deep sorrow. "Stop, good sir," said Arthur. "Tell me why you are so troubled." "You cannot help me," said the knight, and he rode on toward the castle of Meliot. Soon after, Balin came riding by. When he saw the king, he got off his horse and greeted him. "You are very welcome," said Arthur. "Just now a knight passed by in great sorrow. I do not know why. I ask you, as a favor, go after him and bring him back, either by persuasion or by force." "I will do even more than that for you," said Balin. So Balin rode quickly and found the knight in a forest with a lady. "Sir Knight," said Balin, "you must come with me to King Arthur and tell him your trouble." "I will not," said the knight. "It would harm me, and do you no good." "Sir," said Balin, "prepare yourself. You must come with me, or I will fight you and bring you by force, and I would rather not do that." "If I go with you, will you protect me?" asked the knight. "Yes," said Balin, "or I will die for it." So the knight agreed, and went with Balin, leaving the lady behind. But as they came near King Arthur's tent, an unseen enemy suddenly struck. An invisible knight, named Gareth, thrust a spear through the knight's body. "Alas," said the dying knight, "I am killed under your protection by a knight named Gareth. Take my horse, it is better than yours, and ride to the lady I left behind. Follow her quest as she guides you, and avenge my death when you can." "I will do so," said Balin. "I swear it by my honor." Then Balin left him, filled with sorrow. King Arthur had the dead knight buried with honor. On his tomb was written how Herlu's le Berbus had been slain, and that the treacherous knight Gareth had done the deed. And the lady carried with her the broken piece of the spear that had killed him. Chapter 13. Balin and the lady rode into a forest. There they met a knight who had been hunting. The knight asked Balin why he seemed so sorrowful. "I do not wish to tell you," said Balin. "Well," said the knight, "if I were armed as you are, I would fight you." "That is not necessary," said Balin. "I am not afraid to tell you." And he explained everything that had happened. "Is that all?" said the knight. "Then I promise you, by my honor, I will not leave you as long as I live." So they went to a lodging, armed themselves, and rode on together. As they passed by a hermitage near a churchyard, the invisible knight Gareth suddenly appeared and struck the knight through the body with a spear, whose name was Peran de Montbeliard. "Alas," cried the knight, "I am slain by this treacherous knight who rides unseen." "Alas," said Balin, "this is not the first wrong he has done to me." Then Balin and the hermit buried the knight under a fine stone tomb. The next morning they found gold letters written there, saying that Sir Gawain would one day avenge his father King Lot by killing Pellinore. After this, Balin and the lady rode on until they came to a castle. Balin got off his horse, and he and the lady went toward the gate. But as soon as Balin entered, the gate slammed shut behind him. At once, many men rushed at the lady and tried to kill her. When Balin saw this, he was very upset, because he could not reach her to help. So he ran up into a tower, leapt over the wall into the ditch below without hurting himself, drew his sword, and prepared to fight them. But they all refused to fight him. "We are only following the old custom of this castle," they said. They explained that their lady had been sick for many years, and could not be healed unless she drank from a silver dish filled with the blood of a pure maiden, a king's daughter. Because of this, no young woman was allowed to pass the castle without giving her blood into such a dish. "Well," said Balin, "she may give as much blood as she can, but I will not let her be killed while I live." So Balin allowed the lady to give some of her blood willingly, but it did not heal the sick lady. That night, Balin and the lady stayed at the castle and were treated well. In the morning they continued on their journey. Later, as it is told in the story of the Holy Grail, Percival's sister gave her blood to heal that lady, and died because of it. Chapter 14. Then Balin and the lady rode for 3 or 4 days without any adventure. At last they stayed with a nobleman who was rich and lived well. As they sat at supper, Balin heard someone nearby crying in great pain. "What is that noise?" asked Balin. "I will tell you," said the host. "Not long ago I was at a tournament, where I fought a knight who is the brother of King Pellam. I knocked him down twice. Then he swore he would take revenge on my dearest friend. So he wounded my son, who cannot be healed unless I get some of that knight's blood. But that knight rides invisibly, and I do not know his name." "Ah," said Balin, "I know that knight. His name is Gareth. He has killed 2 of my own knights in the same way. I would rather meet him than have all the gold in this land because of the wrong he has done to me." "Well," said the host, "I can tell you this. King Pellam has announced a great feast that will take place within 20 days. No knight may attend unless he brings his wife or his lady. Your enemy and mine will be there." "Then I promise you," said Balin, "you shall have some of his blood to heal your son." "We will set out tomorrow," said the host. So the next morning, the three of them rode toward King Pellam's land. It took them 15 days to arrive, and on that very day, the great feast had begun. They dismounted, stabled their horses, and went into the castle. But Balin's host was not allowed to enter because he had no lady with him. Balin, however, was welcomed inside. He was taken to a chamber, helped out of his armor, and given fine clothes. They asked him to leave his sword behind. "No," said Balin. "In my country a knight always keeps his weapon with him. I will follow that custom, or I will leave." So they allowed him to keep his sword. Then he went into the hall and was seated among noble knights, with the lady seated before him. Soon Balin asked one of the knights, "Is there a knight here named Garlon?" "Yes," said the knight. "There he goes, the one with the dark face. He is the most dangerous knight alive. He destroys many good knights because he can make himself invisible." "Ah," said Balin, "so that is him." He watched Garlon closely and thought to himself, "If I kill him here, I may not escape. But if I let him go, I may never find him again, and he will continue to do great harm." Just then, Garlon noticed Balin staring at him. He came over and struck Balin across the face with the back of his hand. "Knight," he said, "why do you stare at me? Be ashamed. Eat your food and mind your business." "You speak truly," said Balin, "but this is not the first insult you have given me. Now I will do what I came for." Balin jumped up fiercely and struck Garlon, splitting his head down to his shoulders. "Give me the broken spear," Balin said to the lady, "the one he used to kill your knight." At once she gave it to him, for she had been carrying it all along. Then Balin drove the broken spear into Garlon's body and said loudly, "With this weapon you killed a good knight, and now it is in your own body." Then Balin called out to his host, "Now you may take enough blood to heal your son." Chapter 16. Then Merlin came and pulled Balin out from the ruins. He gave him a good horse, since Balin's own horse had died, and told him to leave that land at once. "I want to find the lady who was with me," said Balin. "Look," said Merlin, "there she lies, dead." King Pellam lay badly wounded for many years, and could not be healed until Galahad cured him during the quest for the Holy Grail. For in that place was some of the blood of Jesus Christ, which Joseph of Arimathea had brought to that land. And it was said that Joseph himself had once lain in that rich bed. The spear Balin had used was the same spear with which Longinus had pierced the side of Christ. King Pellam was related to Joseph, and was one of the most noble men alive in those days. It was a great tragedy that he was wounded, for because of that terrible blow, 3 lands were brought into suffering, sorrow, and ruin. Then Balin parted from Merlin and said, "We will never meet again in this world." Balin rode through many lands and cities, and saw people lying dead everywhere. Those who were still alive cried out, "O Balin, you have caused great destruction. Because of the terrible blow you gave King Pellam, 3 kingdoms are ruined. And know this, vengeance will come upon you in the end." When Balin left those lands behind, he was very glad. He rode for 8 days without any adventure. At last, he came into a beautiful forest in a valley. There he saw a tower, and nearby a great war horse tied to a tree. Beside it sat a handsome knight on the ground, mourning deeply. "God save you," said Balin. "Why are you so sad? Tell me, and I will help if I can." "Sir Knight," said the man. "You trouble me. I was lost in my thoughts, and now you only increase my sorrow." Balin stepped aside and looked at the knight's horse. Then he heard the knight say, "Ah, fair lady, why have you broken your promise? You said you would meet me here by noon. I curse the day you gave me this sword, for with it I will kill myself." He drew out his sword. At once Balin rushed to him and grabbed his hand. "Let go of me," said the knight, "or I will kill you." "That will not be needed," said Balin. "I promise to help you find your lady, if you will tell me where she is." "What is your name?" asked the knight. "My name is Balin le Savage." "Ah, sir, I know you," said the knight. "You are the knight with the two swords, the most skilled warrior alive." "And what is your name?" asked Balin. "My name is Garnish of the Mount. I am the son of a poor man, but through my strength and courage a duke made me a knight and gave me land. His name is Duke Hermel. His daughter is the lady I love, and I believed she loved me." "How far away is she?" asked Balin. "Only 6 miles from here," said the knight. "Then let us go," said Balin. So they rode quickly until they came to a strong castle, surrounded by walls and a ditch. "I will go inside and see if she is there," said Balin. He entered the castle and searched from room to room. He found her bed, but she was not there. Then he went into a small, beautiful garden. There, under a laurel tree, he saw the lady lying on a fine green cloth. She was in the arms of another knight, and they held each other closely, sleeping together on the grass. When Balin saw this, such a fair lady lying with such a foul-looking knight, he returned and told Garnish what he had seen. Then he brought Garnish to the place where she lay sleeping. Chapter 17. When Garnish of the Mount saw the lady lying with another knight, his grief was so great that blood burst from his nose and mouth. In his sorrow and rage, he drew his sword and cut off both their heads. Then he cried out in deep pain, "O Balin, you have brought me great sorrow. If you had not shown me this, I might have lived with my grief." "Truly," said Balin, "I showed it to you so that your heart might be strengthened, that you might see her betrayal and stop loving such a woman. God knows I did it only as I would have wanted you to do for me." "Alas," said Garnish, "now my sorrow is doubled beyond what I can bear. I have killed the one I loved most in my life." Then, suddenly, he threw himself onto his own sword, driving it into his body up to the hilt. When Balin saw this, he quickly left the place, fearing that others might think he had killed them. He rode on, and after 3 days he came to a cross where golden letters were written. No knight should ride alone toward this castle. Then he saw an old, grey-haired man coming toward him, who said, "Balin le Savage, you are going too far by coming this way. Turn back. It will be better for you." Then the man suddenly vanished. Soon after, Balin heard a horn blow, like the call made when a beast is hunted to its death. "That horn is blown for me," said Balin. "I am the prey, though I am not yet dead." Then he saw 100 ladies and many knights who welcomed him warmly. They treated him kindly and led him into the castle. Inside, there was dancing, music, and great celebration. Then the chief lady of the castle said, "Knight with the 2 swords, you must fight and joust with a knight nearby who guards an island. No one may pass this way unless he fights him." "That is a cruel custom," said Balin, "that a knight cannot pass without fighting." "You will only have to face 1 knight," said the lady. "Well," said Balin, "since I must, I am ready. Travelers are often tired, and so are their horses. But though my horse is weary, my heart is not. I would gladly go where my death awaits." Then a knight said to Balin, Your shield does not seem strong enough. I will lend you a better one." "I thank you," said Balin. So Balin took the unknown shield and left his own behind. Then he rode to the island and boarded a boat with his horse. When he reached the other side, a lady met him and said, "O Balin, why did you leave your own shield? You have put yourself in great danger. If you had your own shield, you would have been recognized. This is a great tragedy, for there is no knight alive equal to you in strength and courage." "I regret coming to this land," said Balin, "but I cannot turn back now without shame. Whatever happens, life or death, I will accept it." Then he checked his armor, saw that he was well prepared, made the sign of blessing over himself, and mounted his horse. Chapter 18. Then ahead of him, Balin saw a knight riding out from a castle. The knight and his horse were both dressed completely in red. When this knight, Balin, saw Balin, he thought it might be his brother because of the two swords. But since he did not recognize the shield, he believed it was someone else. So they lowered their spears and charged at each other with great force. They struck each other's shields so hard that both men and horses were thrown to the ground, and both knights lay unconscious. Balin was badly hurt from the fall, as he was already tired from travel. Balin rose first, drew his sword, and went toward him. Balin got up as well and moved to meet him. Balin struck first, hitting Balin so hard that his shield was split and his helmet damaged. Then Balin struck back with the cursed sword and nearly knocked Balin down. They fought fiercely until they were out of breath. Then Balin looked up and saw the towers of the castle filled with watching ladies. They fought again, wounding each other terribly. The ground where they fought was covered in blood. Each had given the other 7 deep wounds, any one of which could have killed even the strongest giant. Still, they continued fighting with incredible force. Their armor was torn apart so that they stood exposed and bleeding on all sides. At last, Balin stepped back and collapsed onto the ground. Then Balin said, "What knight are you? I have never fought one equal to me before." "My name is Balin," he said, "brother to the good knight Balin." "Alas," cried Balin, "that I should live to see this day!" And he fell back in a faint. Then Balin crawled over on his hands and knees, removed his brother's helmet, and looked at his face. But it was so cut and bloody that he could not recognize him. When Balin awoke, he said, "O Balin, my brother, you have killed me, and I have killed you. The whole world will speak of us." "Alas, that this has happened," said Balin. "I saw your 2 swords, but because you carried a different shield, I thought you were another knight." "Alas," said Balin, "this was caused by that evil knight in the castle. He made me leave my own shield, and it has brought about both our deaths. If I could live, I would destroy that castle for its cruel customs." "That would be right," said Balin, "for I was trapped there as well. I killed the knight who guarded that island, and since then I could not leave. And neither would you have escaped, even if you had killed me and lived." Then the lady of the tower came to them, with 4 knights, 6 ladies and 6 servants. She heard them grieving and said, "You both came from one mother's womb, and now you will lie together in one grave." For his loyal service, Balin asked her kindly to bury them in the same place where they had fought. She agreed, weeping, and promised to do it with great honor. "Now," said Balin, "send for a priest so we may receive the sacrament and the body of our Lord Jesus Christ." "Yes," said the lady, "it shall be done." So she sent for a priest, and they received their final rites. Then Balin said, "When we are buried together, and it is written how 2 brothers killed each other, every good knight and every good man who sees our tomb will pray for our souls." All the ladies and women wept in sorrow. Soon after, Balin died. Balin lived until midnight, and then he also died. They were buried together in one tomb. The lady had an inscription made, telling how Balin had been killed by his brother, but she did not know Balin's name. Chapter 19. In the morning, Merlin came and had Balin's name written on the tomb in gold letters. Here lies Balin, the knight with the two swords, who struck the dolorous stroke. Merlin also had a bed made there, with this strange rule: no one who lay in it would keep their sanity. Yet Lancelot later overcame this danger through his great nobility. Soon after Balin's death, Merlin took his sword and replaced its pommel, the handle end. Then he told a knight nearby to try holding the sword, but the knight could not even handle it. Merlin laughed. "Why do you laugh?" asked the knight. "I laugh for this reason," said Merlin. "No man will ever handle this sword except the greatest knight in the world. That will be either Sir Lancelot or Galahad, his son. And with this sword, Lancelot will kill the man he loves most in the world, Sir Gawain." Merlin had these words written on the pommel of the sword. Then Merlin had a bridge made of iron and steel leading to the island. It was only 1/2 a foot wide, so narrow that no one could cross it unless he was a truly great knight, free from treachery or evil. Merlin left the sheath of Balin's sword on the near side of the island, so that Galahad would one day find it. He also used his magic to place Balin's sword inside a great upright stone of marble, as large as a millstone. The stone floated above the water for many years. Then, by chance, it drifted down a river to the city of Camelot, called Winchester in English. On that same day, Galahad came there with King Arthur. Galahad brought the sheath with him and drew the sword from the marble stone floating on the water. On Whitsunday, he completed this task, as is told in the story of the Holy Grail. Soon after, Merlin came to King Arthur and told him everything, about the terrible blow Balin had struck against King Pellam, and about the great battle between Balin and Balin, the most amazing duel ever known, and how the two brothers were buried together in one tomb. "Alas," said King Arthur, "this is the saddest tale I have ever heard of two knights. I know of no two greater than they were." Thus ends the story of Balin and Balin, two brothers from Northumberland, both noble knights. You're listening to Classics Made Clear, classic texts translated with accuracy and accessibility for today's listener. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share these videos with your friends.